Hello and welcome to Saiyan Squabble's first ever deck profile. I am Papa Ping Pong, and today we will be reviewing my favorite antagonist and my favorite deck in the format, Goku Black and Zamasu. So, I love this deck. I've been playing Zamasu since set 2, and when set 7 came out, I built this immediately at the pre-release. As soon as I can, I did a bunch of trades, and a couple buddy mice threw me some cards. I got lucky, my friend even gave me this set 7 pre-release stamp, and I just love it. I'm super thankful for him. And this is, I don't mean to toot my own horn, I've played this deck again ever since set 7 came out. It's my favorite deck. I play this all the time with my buddies, and I've played probably through 7 or 8 different builds of this deck to try to figure out just what is the best. I've been trying to make him meta so bad, and this is probably one of the best, if not the best build you can possibly make. Again, it's not to my own horn, it's just what I've found is to be the best. I've beaten Toa pretty consistently. I've beaten Broly Apes. Broly BR, I have beat, but it's probably the hardest matchup with Tragic Awakening, etc., etc. I've beaten U6, and a bunch of stuff along those lines. I've beaten Baby, another hard matchup, but I have beaten Baby a few times, so... yeah, before we start, I will say I do not run the mass replication engine. A lot of people really like it. I ran it for a long time. I ran it probably my first 4 or 5 different builds of this deck, and I just, maybe in the new format, I'll run it, but it ended up being too slow. I ended up not liking it. My opponents normally somehow got through the blockers, wiped my board, or something along those lines. But this deck is one more without the mass replication engine. But the only reason I'm making this deck profile before set 8 comes out is because this is probably not going to change much, maybe with one of the new promos or something, but I think this deck is going to stay relatively the same. Maybe, I don't think I see adding any of the new counterplays or anything along those lines, so this is probably going to be through set 8 as well. So let's get to the profile. First up, already a controversial choice, but hear me out. 4 North Kai keeping watch. A lot of people, they look at the leader, Goku Black Zamasu, and they're like, oh god, Hellas. Hellas, I think, is a great super combo, I really do. But for this deck, maybe I just have really bad luck, but when you use your 3-drops to ramp from the top of your deck, I've had several instances where I ramp a green where I need anything other than Hellas. I need stuff for Sensu Bean, I need stuff for negates against aggro matchups, and I've literally lost entire games because I've ramped Hellas. And the way I look at it is, if I'm running a card that's costing me games, I'm going to run something else. So I run North Kai because I do get to 4 life quite often because there's quite a lot of aggro decks out there. Or, you know, just for the auto draw 1, or for the automatic draw 1, because another thing is, everything in your hand is super vital almost all the time with this deck. So I don't like pitching. The drawing 2 is always nice, but pitching is just always risky because you don't know what you're going to get. If it was a draw 2 pitch 1, I'd probably run 2 and 2 or go to just run Hellas. But I've lost too many games, and it's good to know when I charge this from the top of my deck, it doesn't feel bad. But yeah. Next up, 3 Goku Black Countdown to Destruction. I really like this card. I used to run this at 4, but there is a slight tech choice I'm trying with this deck that so far is having pretty good luck. I'll tell you what I had prior when I get to the card, in case that somehow doesn't end up working out, but it's really good so far. I've had no issues with it. But I ran this at 4. Honestly, if I went back to my previous build, I'd probably still keep this at 3, because I've realized that you're only playing 1 to 2 of these a game, and it's just for the free play, because if you're at 5 or more energy, you can play him, draw 1 card, and you can't play him for the duration of the turn. So if you can spam these guys, that'd be a little too good, so I don't blame them for not doing that. But you're normally playing him for a fusion target, or if you're like digging for something, you play him, draw, and he's just nice to have. But I considered putting him to 2, but I think 3 is a good number. So, next up, Unyielding Spirit Trunks. You combo with him on your turn. If your leader's blue, you restand 1 energy. It's just really good. You can extend plays. I've made crazy plays when I've had Unyielding Spirit in my hand. I've played 3 of the 3 drops in one turn because of him. You know, you charge a multicolor turn 1. You can combo to restand it if you want some extra defense from like aggro decks that pop off on their second turn. But speaking of 3 drops, that's what we're going to talk about next. We run 4 of Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black, Inviting the Darkness. Crutch of the deck, super vital, super good. It's got Barrier, and when you play this card, if your leader is Goku Black or Zamasu, you add the top card of your deck into your energy. Then if your leader card is Goku Black or Zamasu, at the end of your opponent's next turn, they reveal the top card of their deck. If it is a battle card, they place it in their energy in rest mode. If it is an extra card, you draw 1 card. Either way, it's good. So the one issue with this card is I wish it had Deflect, but with Deflect, it'd probably be too strong. You know, get rid of Barrier, give it Deflect. But again, because my friends, they know this matchup. If they have counterplays like Denial of Hope or Cold Bloodlust, they're going to play it against this, and it can set you back a little bit. That's probably the one issue with this deck that I wish there was a way around, but there really isn't. Yeah, super vital, super good. I love it. And I've seen people run it at 3, but I just don't see it. I think it's way too vital for your turn 3 play. Next up, expensive card, Goku Black, Unforeseen Darkness. It sucks that this card is so vital but so expensive. Yeah, honestly, if I couldn't get my hands on these, I probably would run the Mass Replication Engine instead, because this card is just so good and so vital to the build. He's so much momentum, but his auto. When you play this card from your hand, activate the skill. At the end of this turn, if there's a card that is both blue and yellow in your energy, draw 2 cards and place 1 card from your hand in the drop area. Then choose up to 1 of your blue or yellow energy and switch it to active mode. Basically it becomes a 1 cost, and if your opponent's being really stubborn, you can do a 15k swing to bring down to less life. There's not much they can do against a 15k turn 2 unless they want to waste resources. Excuse me. But yeah, this card's crazy good. I really like it. I've had 4 for a long time, and I used to only run it at 2 with my older builds, but as soon as I bumped it up to 4, I'm like, what was I doing? So, super vital, super good. Next up, Goku Black, the Replicator. I used to not like this card, then I realized I misread it, and I've had it in ever since. Really good as a tech choice, in my opinion. So when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, place in their energy in rest mode, then play 1 shadow token. And the rest of the effect doesn't really matter if your opponent, when you do this and your opponent's still at 3 or less energy, it's like 3 or less, right? Yeah, has 3 or less energy, they reveal top card of their deck as a battle card, goes to their energy in rest mode, otherwise they shuffle and I draw. That second effect never happens, your opponent's going to be at 3. The only time they might not be is against Broly BR, but even then, you're probably going to be ramping one of their battle cards. Actually, now I think about it, that might actually be pretty good against Broly BR. But turn 4 Broly BR, you're probably going to be wanting to play something else anyways. This is actually really good against the Broly matchup. It's weird. The Broly matchup, again, is the hardest. But spot removal, this is the only spot removal in the deck that I can think of off the top of my head, other than the leader. So he's nice to have. More often than not, he does get charged, but he's better to have and not need than need and not have. So I run him at 2. He does clutch games for me every here and there, especially if they're being stubborn at 5 or at 7 energy or something. And I extend with Sensu Being, I can play him, bring him to 8. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a good card just to have. And, now let's move on to the yellow stuff. Let's go Zamasu, the Mastermind, 4 of. So he's a blocker. If you have a Goku Black in your battle area or leader area, you can play him for free. Really good, really defensive, and him combined with Countdown to Destruction, you're getting a free fusion basically, or you just need to pay the fusion cost. Now, something to keep in mind, only the unawakened side is Goku Black, the awakened side is not. I have messed up on that before, or I used to when I was first playing the deck. But yeah, really good. So the tech choice I'm trying out now, if you really want to call it tech, are Hidden Ambition Zamasu. So the replacements for this was 1 card that I'm getting to later, and 1 countdown to destruction. So this card is really good, but he's kind of dead after turn 2. So I want to open with him. He's got indestructible, deflect barrier. Nothing is touching him except for Zeno. So when you play him, you choose 1 Goku Black, blue Goku Black from your hand with a 2 or less energy cost. You play it. You play Unforeseen Darkness off of him, and that's just really good. It gives you another body on board. When your opponent's awakened, or what I like to do is, because this card isn't getting touched, swing at their leader, use Sensu Bean or Unyielding to extend plays, because you do that and they're not taking damage, because 4K is just super nice. Even if they're unawakened, you can do that and extend some plays. He gives you more targets to search off of Goku Black and Zamasu, and he gives you 1 extra yellow. Oh, sorry, cat wants out. Sorry about that. But and he gives you 1 more yellow for stuff like Nimbus, which we do run in the deck. But more targets for Goku Black and Zamasu is always good. And once he's on the board for good, except for, Chain Zeno. But that's the only thing you ever have to worry about. If that's the case, you're still probably going to play him anyway. Alright, next up, 3 Champa the Trickster. So he's a counterplay. If a multicolor card is in your energy, it becomes a 2 cost. Probably the best 2 cost counterplay. That's a battle card. One of those multicolor you reduce by 1. When you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and switch it to rest mode. Then if it's your opponent's turn, draw 1. You're only playing this on your opponent's turn to stop their big momentum swings like Goji to 7, because Goji to 7 you're also drawing 1. So you're drawing 4 cards. Back when ramp was a big thing, when World Peace wasn't errated, this card did save me in a few games, but believe it or not, this deck does not do very well against ramp, because they just let you do the job. But really good. And then he's an extra 15k if your opponent's still being really stubborn. Next up, an option's probably going to weird some people out, so it weirds everyone out when I play it. Bojack Pirate's Pride. Excuse me. If there's a multicolor card in your energy and during your opponent's turn it becomes a 1 cost, you negate, and you mill 1 of your opponent's cards, which is always nice. Excuse me again, I'm sorry. But which is always good against non-Gogeta matchups. It's just nice to do. But I used to run him at 3 until I took out for the Zamasu, and he helps us out for another tech choice, and he's just 2 more negates. Alright, so next up, we got 4 Dimension Magics. Everyone knows what Dimension Magic does. Negate, restand 2 energy, sparking 5. You can play it by taking a life instead. We got 4 Sensu Bean. Extending plays. You really want to do this when you want to push to play extra stuff, or if you charge a multicolor from the top of your deck that doesn't ignore energy exhaust, you want it to restand that, and Sensu Bean is just super good. Why wouldn't you run Sensu Bean? Flying Nimbus, 2 of. I had this at 3 for a while, but I ended up getting really cloggy. I saw it when I didn't want to see it, and with the Bojacks they add those extra negates. So you drop a card, they can only attack with 1 more battle card that turn. Next up is the multicolor stuff. Now we run 4 Beerus, because I ran it at 3, but multicolor, you really want to open with it. So I run it at 4, and it's just always nice. It's so satisfying. You feel like you're a genius when you play the 3 drop and you ramp Beerus from the top of your deck. Jesus. Sorry. But I don't think I've ever played him. Like, actually. He's always been energy. Next up is the reason I run the Pirate's Pride. Bojack, Resident Agent of Destruction. When you play him, he's got a rival blue-yellow for 1 yellow, and when you play him, you mill 1, and you choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 4 or less, and switch it to rest mode. And he's a blocker, so basically, he's 2 negates in 1 during your opponent's turn, or if you're really... I've never played him offensively, I don't really know what you do with him offensively with this deck, but I use the Zamasus, because now I have those extra ones. and the Pirate's Pride for combo fodder, because not only are you getting a negate off of Pirate's Pride, then you combo play this guy, you got 2 more negates off of him. So I like to look at Pirate's Pride as almost 3 negates in one. Next up, we got the win con of the deck for Zamasu Divine Providence. I did have this guy at 3. Every once in a while I'd brick and not seeing him, but that was very rare. And I just like having the extra multicolor because you really want to open multicolor with this deck. But this guy, crazy good. You play him with Union for 4 blue, 2 yellow. You look at your opponent's hand, which is already crazy in of itself. And if he's played with Union, you choose 2 cards from their hand and place in their energy in rest mode. Even if your opponent's at 5 energy and you're kind of like stuck, they have a big hand, and you think they're going to go for the momentum turn next turn, you play this card, you see their hand, you take their key pieces and put them in their energy. I've done that to Toa before, where I took their Miras, their self-reformations, charged them, past turn, they couldn't do anything. Then I won the following turn. But he's just super good. When you play him, 9 times out of 10 you won the game. But really good. I've gotten lucky. I've never gotten cold bloodlusted before, but I bet I just cursed myself. Last but not least, Secret Rare. Secret Rare is really good. He's 40k, triple strike. When you play him, or if your opponent has 6 or more energy or 6 or more cards in rest mode, he becomes a 5 cost. So he's always a 5 cost with this deck. And you choose up to 4 of your opponent's cards, switch him to rest mode, and you draw 4. I haven't won a lot of games with him because normally I fulfill my other win con, but he is crazy. He's searchable off your leader. And when you play him, even the draw 4 is just nuts. You never want to tap out with him though, because if your opponent negates, that sucks. That really sucks. So you really want to be strategic when you play him, because again, when your opponent negates, it sucks. It shuts down almost your entire turn. If I'm getting him out, I like my opponent to be at 3 life, so that way I can swing for game. If my opponent's, being really stubborn, or like, for example, Broly, he's taking his own life, or if he's Tragic Awakening, I just play this guy when I'm at 8 energy or so, and then swing, because getting to 8 energy isn't that hard with this deck. But yeah, one tech choice I wanted to bring up that I'm trying is, I try to keep my opponent at 5 life with this deck, because that way they have to waste their own resources and to awaken. And so far it's working out pretty well, because if I keep them at 5 life, they don't get the benefit of awakening. So what I do is I'll play this guy when they're at 5 life, swing with him, pour my hand into him, then they take the damage and they can't awaken, and then they're at 8 energy, so I use his ability to drop their last 4. So I really like that strat, because I think people automatically think you need to bring them to 4 energy to win, but I think otherwise. So, well, that's it. That is it for the deck profile. I'm going to probably try another mass replication build when set 8 comes around with probably some different cards. But so far, I think this is the most consistent, most powerful build. Still definitely not tier 1, but I have beaten plenty of tier 1 decks with this deck. So I'm very proud of it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave me some feedback below, because this is my first deck profile. And I'd like to see you guys again. So thank you very much for watching. Catch you later.